and welcome to the Pole Shift News. Guys, I'm really looking forward to when these organisations come back over in the United States and tell us or reveal to the world what the current status is with regards to the migrating poles on this planet. Are they going to come out and be brave and tell the world that there is 4 magnetic poles? And there is, because there's no reason why one magnetic pole over one part of the world would be doing something different to the other side. What I'm talking about is the Canadian pole deteriorating over around about 7 years to almost half the intensity that we see on this chart right now. Why would it do that if it was just one pole? If it was one pole, it would deteriorate all over the northern hemisphere, not just over one side of it. So I'm really intrigued to see whether these organisations do come out and reveal the actual state of the planet's poles at this moment. So guys, I've also put together in this video a few clips of me building a magnetometer up, so you can get an idea of what's involved in that and what they look like inside these little project boxes. Can't complete the other 9 simply because we're waiting on parts to come. Over the next few days we'll have some button cell batteries, so the one that I've built in this video you'll be able to see me programming that and testing it, but it's going to be around about the 17th of February before all the other stuff's coming, and basically we'll just be copying the one that we've made today 9 more times, so that we have a total of 10 of these magnetometers which are going to get put in different places of the earth. Now we set out only to start with 6, we was going to put 2 in America, 2 in either South Russia, North China, and 2 in mid Wales, 2 in mid Australia on the west coast and on the east coast. But we've had somebody mention that they might be able to get a couple of these magnetometers in Argentina and the Falkland Islands, which will cover that southern westerly region of this chart that we're looking at, which will be great. So I'm going to run that for you so you can see how we build these things, and I just want to quickly say big thanks to those people that have been supporting all these efforts, and you know, without you guys that have supported on PayPal and Patreon, we wouldn't be where we are right now. We're definitely now increasing our game plan, and you know, from this point on you know, we're going to be collecting more data. So if you want to help out with the project, you know, the idea of this is so that we can track the intensity, or the overall intensity, over the Canadian region, over the Siberian region, and over that southern hemisphere, both that's approaching Australia and going up towards Argentina. You know, the whole idea is that we collect the data, and with that data we're able to predict how fast things are moving, where they're moving, and give us an idea as to, you know, when things are likely to speed up. And that will be, you know, an ongoing thing for hopefully many years with this observatory. So guys, although we're waiting for a load of the components to come, the only thing we've had come so far is these project boxes that, as you can see, I've got the lid off one here. We might as well get on with just building at least one of them. So these are the basic components. We're still waiting. We can't program this until we get the button cell batteries for these data loggers, and they'll be here in the next few days. So when we do, we can start the programming, but at least at this point in time we can put them together. So we've got a breakout board, the data logger shield which goes on top of the breakout board, and then we solder the magnetometer chip, which is this little baby, and we'll solder that to the pins. As you can see, I've already put 2 of the pins in place for the magnetometer to go on. So this will be the live and earth. This will be just the data that gets carried back to the processor on the breakout board, and then in turn the program will send it to the SD cards, which we're waiting to come. And from that point on, it's just a case of taking the SD card out and, you know, taking a copy of what's on the SD card, then emailing it back to me in the UK. I'll do the processing, and then we'll have mag 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up on the website, and we'll be able to monitor those high intensity regions. So I've ordered enough to build 10 of these magnetometers. We're going to put probably the other 2 out of the, we was going to originally just build 6, but we'll put another 2, hopefully, if we can get someone to support us in having these magnetometers in their home in either Argentina or the Falkland Islands, or as far south west as we can get them. That's just so we can monitor both sides of the southern hemisphere with regards to those 2 poles down there. So you know, the only other thing is we're going to put a couple of LEDs on there on the actual outer casing. That's just so that the person knows that first of all there's power going to it constantly, so one will be lit live, so the green one will have constantly lit, and then the red one will just flash every 15 minutes or every 30 minutes when it takes a reading of the magnetic field strength or intensity in that region. A little bit like the one I've got over there. You ain't going to see it flash because this one's just set for every 15 minutes, but as you can see the green light's on there, and every 15 minutes the red light will flash. It just lets me know that that is all up and running. We've got the one down here which flashes every 3 seconds or so, and this one's wireless. The Trimag is up in the loft and it just receives a data packet every 3 seconds, and it illuminates that red light as you can see blinking there, just to let me know that it is not just powered up but actually receiving packets of data of that region in between the 2 poles at the moment over the northern hemisphere. So this is somewhat similar to what people are going to get, you know, there we go. So I'm going to put these together, solder them up, and you know, a few days later we're going to put the button cell batteries in, and then we can upload the program to the Arduino and test them. And the way we're going to test them is just simply getting a magnet within the vicinity, and when we plug it into the serial port on the computer, which is off this lead, we should be able to see and adjust on the actual data that it's collecting, which means it'll, you know, the resolution will go up, you know, in microteslers, and when we move the magnet away it should go back down, so we'll know that they're working at that point. When they get sent to people, you're going to get one of these leads. Now I know they're not the longest leads, so whatever you've got, hopefully a laptop, you'll be able to, when you've put this box on the wall where it's going to stay, try and choose a place where it's, you know, magnetically clean. That's why I stuck mine quite high above the ceiling. I know there's no wires running up in the loft above the ceiling where it's gone, so it's not likely to be interfered with any magnetic frequencies off other electrical devices or cables, or, you know, as such. So, you know, that's what ideally you want to do as well when you get these magnetometers. And yeah, so I'm going to put this together. I'll show you a little bit later on that put together and roughly how it's got to look. We've got to cut a little section out of the box there. I've just you know, penciled it in roughly where I want to cut it, and that is just so that we can access, once we get these put together, I'll just put the shield on to give you an idea what they look like. So that's when these 2 are fastened together, you've got to have access so that you can plug this lead into the back of there so you can calibrate it, and then you've got your power lead on the other side which will come out the box like the one on the wall does over there, and then the reset button. And we've got to, obviously, because this is going in the box, something like this, it'll be cemented in there so it doesn't move, and there'll be a little slot for your SD card and access just to the serial lead port and the power port, so you can plug it all in. And you know, when it comes to it, you know, you just want to put a bit of cement on the back and then glue it to the wall, and that should be it. The only thing you've got to do from then on is plug the power lead in, and, you know, take the SD cards out once a month, or how often we need them. If obviously there's a lot of activity, we'll start doing them, you know, less than once a month. We might do them once a week. We'll just see how this goes. So there you are. The magnetometer, we're just going to tin up the wires at the moment, which is just putting a little bit of solder on at the ends of the wires where we're going to solder it to the breakout board. And this just helps us when we come to put the wire onto the position where we've got to get it, it just makes it nice and easy. All you've got to do then is, once you've got the wire tinted with a bit of solder, is just then touch it on where it's got to go, and from that point on, you know, you just dab them on with, you know, just dab the soldering iron on then, and it should be nice and easy and fast. Just a little bit more on there. We should have it. Now I've got the. This is the problem with soldering. You sometimes get the wire too hot. Let's start again. There we go. Perfect. Actually, a bit more on there. I know what you're thinking, guys. I've got to do 10 of these. There we go. We got it that time. Perfect. Okay, there we are. The same as what we did on the magnetometer wires. Just put a bit of solder on them, so once we are ready to actually solder them to the wires, that all we've got to do then is just touch them, and you should be job done. That's one, two, okay. Now we've got the wires soldered on to where they need to be on the actual breakout board, or in this case the shield, which is going to slot on top of the breakout board. All we need to do is connect the magnetometer, and that part's done. The next bit is getting our LEDs soldered onto where they've got to go on the boards. So we've got the shield on. We've mounted now the magnetometer onto the shield, and we've got the wires connected. So the SCL from the magnetometer is going to the analog pin 5, and the SDA is going to the analog pin 4 on the shield, which in turn drop it down. It's just a duplicate of the pin out on the actual shield, as you can see. So there it goes into the breakout board, and we've just put a bit of cement, which is not going to interfere with the electrics on there. It's just plastic, just to hold the magnetometer at the front of the unit, so that when we put our unit in the box, it's held nice and securely in position and doesn't interfere with anything. So the magnetometer's done. What we need now is to put these LEDs onto the actual breakout board to indicate one power, and one is just like a receipt. When it flashes, it'll let us know that it's collected a data packet. So to do that, we're going to put the one LED on the digital write, and in the program that we're going to use, we'll just tell it that whatever pins we use on the digital outputs of the breakout board, we'll just tell it to flash once it's collected a data packet and recorded it to the SD card. Apart from that, we've got to cut out the back of the box so that we can access the serial lead and the power port, and also we've got to have access so that we can put the SD cards in and out. So we're going to cut a panel out of there, and we're not far off done building one. So there'll be another 9 of these in total to build when all the components come together, and in a couple of days we'll be able to program it once we get the button cells. They're on order, and I believe it'll be around the 5th when we get the button cell batteries. So it's a waiting game from there on, guys. But that's where we are so far. Now is we've selected some shrink wrap to go on the LEDs. We're just going to heat that shrink wrap up now just to shrink it over the ends of the soldered joints. What we want to do is make it as neat as possible, and you know, in doing so, you know, it just eliminates those wires that could possibly short out through just something simple as touching together. So by putting these little bits of shrink wrap on there, what this will do is just prevent them, you know, coming into contact with each other. So what we're going to do is just light up the torch and gently shrink them off. See if I can hold the camera as well while I do this so you can see what I'm doing. So we're just applying a little bit of gentle heat to the shrink wrap, and you'll see it start shrinking down onto the wire and just holding it into place. It just makes the job a lot nice and neat as well. Trust me, this isn't easy, holding the camera and, you know, trying to do this without reheating the solder up and having it break off the wire. That's looking good. Just a little bit too much there. Okay, I'm happy with that. Let's put it on the breakout board. So this is finished, other than a little button cell battery for the data logger to keep the clock running and the memory. And you know, the shield is on top of the breakout board. On the bottom we've got the magnetometer there assembled on the front, and we also have our LEDs, one which will tell us that the power's on, and the other one which will tell us every time some data is recorded to the SD card, it would just flash for about half a second and then go off, and then every 15 minutes or every 30 minutes when it takes in data, it will flash again. So I've not cemented these 2 wires onto the actual breakout board or the shield at the moment, and the earth. As you can see, I joined the 2 earth wires together, but we've got individual live wires going to the LEDs. That's because they're doing different things, and in the program we'll be programming it to flash once it collects a piece of data, and this one will be continuously blinking that fast. It will be doing it that fast that it'll look like it's constantly on, but that's what we'll do. We'll set it up in the program to blink every 1,000th of a second, but it'll do it that fast. But it's just the way you get round switching LEDs off and on in the programming. So what we've got to do now is mount this into the actual casing over there, and then drill a couple of little holes for the LEDs to go in the box, and you know, we can wait then till it's programmed in the next few days when we get the button cells come through. We've got the LEDs in the top here now, one for power on, one for collecting data, and we've got the Arduino breakout board in its box. We've cut the back of the box out so we can access the power cable, the SD card and the serial lead, which we'll need access for programming it. But that pretty much is it. I've not set the LEDs permanently in place because I still want to fiddle about with the inside. I've got to cement the actual thing down in there but I didn't want to do any more until we get the button cell batteries come and it programmed up. But that is pretty much it, guys. That's all there is to it. So just another 9 of these to build and we're finished. So guys, we're waiting a few days for the button cell batteries to come. When they do, we can program them and test them, and you know, once we've got these magnetometers built and in place, you know guys, we're going to be collecting the data, and that's what this is all about. And it's not a small project. It might look a small project, and obviously, you know, we're dealing on a very, very, very small budget, but you know, we're going to get some results back from this. We're going to be able to predict, based on the data as it changes, what's going on over those 4 magnetic regions on the planet. And like I say, you know, it might be a small budget that we've got, but nevertheless we can get some pretty good results back, which I think would give these bigger organisations with massive budgets a good run for the money. You know, it was only about 4 months ago on this channel that we came out well before the mainstream organisations did and told people that there was an uptick in the behaviour of the magnetic North Pole, and that was because we built 2 years nearly ago the equipment to track the movement of the magnetic pole. You know, we also monitor the Earth's magnetic field strength, the magnetosphere, and you know, we're doing a lot for a small amount of money that we're actually getting in, and we're achieving some, you know, I think remarkable results. And I can see that we're going to continue to do that, guys, so long as we keep getting the help from a few people. Now, you know, we are nearly touching 20,000 viewers, and we've only got 108 people on Patreon. It should be a lot more than that, guys, and you know, it is going to pay off. And you know, like I say, it costs, if you want, just $1 to support it. Now, I don't believe for 1 minute that there's 20,000 people on our channel that can't afford one single dollar, because what does $1 buy these days, guys? You know, what you're doing here is supporting science. It's a massive scientific effort, and you know, it's not just a scientific project that we're doing. We're actually undertaking a project which is involved in one of the biggest anomalies that has taken place in our time. The last time the Earth went through a magnetic reversal was, as you already know, guys, 780,000 years ago, and we're back in that time now where it's happening. This is taking place in our life, and this is the biggest event on our planet. This single event, in terms of planetary mechanics, is changing our weather, and as a result of that, it is creating a lot of other serious knock-on effects, such as food production. And you know, we're already starting to see countries respond to that. You know, if you're wondering why, you know, over in the United States the temperatures at those levels of what it is right now, it's very likely to do with the magnetic poles reversing on this planet. As a result, we have more cosmic radiation inbound. As a result, the jet streams get laden with more water, and they start to mix with subtropical and polar jet streams both over the northern and southern hemispheres. This is why we are building these magnetometers now, because we want to track the cause of the problem and not the effects of the problem. And you know, guys, all I can ask is, you know, that you support it, because it's a well worth cause. I think you'll agree. And you know, if I can only just say one other thing, is big thank you to those guys that have been pledging a few quid here and there on PayPal and on also Patreon. And you know, guys, if you thought about doing it, then perhaps why not just do it? Like I said, you don't have to pledge a lot of money. You can just, if you want, support it with just $1. It's entirely up to you. But if we get a lot more people supporting it with $1, it won't just be $725 that we'll have to, you know, carry out this project. We'll have probably, hopefully, a couple of $1,000, and we can do a lot more than that with that money. So, you know, I'll say what I usually do, guys. The link's down there for the Patreon or the PayPal, whichever's convenient for you, but support it. You know, this is a once-in-a-lifetime event. It's the biggest anomaly, and it's well worth the support, guys. And we deliver ahead of the organisations that, you know, restrict a lot of the information to you guys. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's all done with, you know, the utmost honesty and integrity, and it's delivered to you guys as we collect the information. We've got a dedicated website for you to view all the information, as well as a lot of other anomalies. And, you know, there's a lot of work that goes into not just building this stuff, but actually maintaining it and, you know, processing all the data so that you get it firsthand. So guys, you know, I'll say no more. Links down there, and as always, enjoy your weekend, and bye for now.